Well, hello everyone, and that was a recent morning visit to Scarborough on the Yorkshire coast. And if you enjoyed that, then of course you can see plenty more on location shoots at my E6 subscription. Loads of stuff on there, loads of stuff you're missing out on. Link in the description below. Now have a look at this Fuji X-T5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 26 buttons and dials on here. What about the X Pro 2 then? Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. Yep, that's got about 25 in total. And the Olympus EM1 Mark II, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 24 buttons. Yeah, about the same. And what about my Ricoh GR3? Oh, just 10 buttons. That's better. I like that. So this is troubling me. I did a video recently about simplifying your photography, and in many ways that's what I'm trying to do myself. Now that video was about helping a beginner get to grips with the basics, but here's me. I know all the basics. I know all about the features available, the functions, the buttons, and I still want to simplify things. I think digital cameras these days have too many buttons, too many features, too many dials, too many options, and basically they're just trying to do too many things. Why do I need to have 19 buttons? Do I need 19 buttons? Buttons and dials can easily get knocked. It's not just a case of not use them if I don't want to. For instance, I have this X-T5 camera set up, or it can be set up so I can either change the aperture here on the lens or by using the front command dial. I have a choice of 2 ways to adjust the aperture. But why? Do I really need 2? That's 1 more than I need, surely. So you may be saying, don't use 2, Craig. Just use 1 and ignore the other. But it's still there. I'm a Libran, and when given choices, I have to weigh up which is best before I commit. Or because I'm given these choices, I'm left in a quandary. Which do I use? Just give me 1 option and I'll be happy. I'll work with that. I guess in many ways this is why I can see the appeal of the Leica cameras. Yes, they're overpriced, maybe overhyped even, but in general they are stripped down cameras. They still have buttons, they still have some settings, but these are mainly limited to aperture, shutter speed and ISO settings, and that's it. You focus yourself and just shoot. That's their philosophy. Is this the best approach then? I want a simple life. I want simple photography and therefore a simple camera. If I wanted a cheaper stripped down camera, there isn't one. It seems you have to pay more to get that. Even older models with less features still have lots of options, plenty of buttons. The answer's not buying older either. These features and button options, of course, are designed to make your life easier, your photography more enjoyable, to tailor the camera to you. But if you strip it down and take away all those options, you'll just work with the limited boundaries of that camera, that limitation. Back button focusing may be a great feature, but you can still take the shot you want without it. It's partly this reason that I like to shoot with prime lenses now. I know I'm in the minority for this, and most photographers I think use zooms. So why is that? Are you worried of missing the shot? Do the limitations of a single prime lens scare you in some way? Do you feel you won't cope with just 1 focal length option? What are you hoping to achieve then with a multi-focal length zoom? Do you really see the world in that many field of views? Because if you do, you're a better photographer, a better observer than me. I generally just use 2 focal lengths, 35mm and 50mm. With a zoom, you're maybe trying to visualize those same field of views I do, as well as 80mm or 90mm, maybe even 125mm, as well as 24mm and 16mm too maybe. Are you really spotting all those compositions on a walkabout, or are you simply missing half the 35mm ones that I see, as you are looking further into the distance as well, looking for too many opportunities? So for those telephoto views or subjects, I will either walk closer to them or think about capturing them on another visit when I may bring a longer lens instead. Not as well as, but instead. So the key to success in my photography is simplicity. If I make things as simple as possible, I'm more productive and more likely to come home with more images, more keepers. I want minimal gear for both simplicity and for weight. Carrying a lot of gear, lots of lenses, maybe a couple of zooms, it's too much, too heavy. I carried a ton of gear, medium format equipment, back in the day in a big rucksack with a big heavy tripod, and I don't miss those days. It's for this reason I no longer carry a tripod these days. Image stabilizing is the one feature I do like, as it allows me to leave the tripod at home and just be a bit more free with my photography. More fluid, less static, as I call it. But without that feature, like when I use the Fuji X-Pro 2, which has no image stabilizing, I'm just as happy to use higher ISO settings instead. Now, a lot of photographers seem to be afraid of high ISOs too, and I don't quite get that either. My photography doesn't seem to end when I reach 400 ISO. Does yours? So, less gear means more productivity for me. But of course, I now make videos. I have to carry other stuff as well that not all photographers have to carry. Video cameras, audio recorders, selfie sticks. I need to record B-roll and film pieces to camera, and that means more gear. The weight I'm saving with photography gear is getting taken up again by other gear for video instead. Therefore, I'm trying to simplify that too. I've never used a big second camera for videoing. Instead, for a while now, I've had the Sony ZV-1. But now I'm shooting more POV videos, and for many years I had an old GoPro 7 for this. Now recently I've been trying the new Insta360 Ace Pro, which although was great in low light, was not the all-round camera for me. So instead I bought the DJI Action 4. Strapped around my neck for POV videos or on a mini tripod for shooting B-roll or pieces to camera, it's great and making it easier for me to make videos, especially on city shoots. It makes me more productive. Additional B-roll, as I say, is now done with the Action 4 or simply using my phone. I use ND filters on here so that I can use a specialist app other than the default one on the phone to get good B-roll using the 180-degree shutter rule. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, you probably don't need to. These ND filters are essential for video, and the ones I use are made by Freewell, and I must say it's a good system. I would recommend them if you're after something similar, even just for capturing long exposures with your phone perhaps. This is something I'm experimenting with more myself too, long exposures without a tripod, and Freewell's Sherpa system on the phone is allowing me to do this. This again is helping me simplify my videoing when out and about. I want the process of taking a photo to be as simple as can be. So if I can also make the process of creating these videos simple too, then that's great as well. So being able to change format in camera, being able to change crop mode in camera, being able to back button focus, change drive mode, turn on the horizon level, zoom in to check focus, review and play back a shot, delete an image, switch to electronic shutter mode, choose a JPEG simulation, an ISO range, or adjust the white balance setting. It's all well and good, but it's also all stuff that can easily get in the way of simple photography. The Ricoh GRs are perhaps better cameras in that respect then. With these I just choose my aperture and I point and I shoot. What else do I need to get good pictures? Do I need all those other options or none of them? I can still get the shots with this simple compact camera, so I seem to be paying for features I don't really need. Again, maybe that's why these Ricoh cameras have limited appeal. They are perhaps a bit daunting for people in their simplicity. Maybe you feel you need all those options and all those button choices, even though you probably don't use half of them. Animal detection autofocus? Train detection autofocus? Really? A less spec'd camera then would be a simple camera, but that's not going to work for the manufacturers. For them, they have to offer more than the previous version, to charge more for that new camera. Except if you're Leica, of course, who've always charged more for less. If I want simple photography, a simple camera, I think I just have to go back with shooting with this one instead. So I'm on a quest to simplify my photography, simplify the process, carry less gear and just be more efficient. But I seem to be fighting against all my cameras to achieve this. I basically need 4 functions on my ideal camera: shutter speed, aperture, ISO, focus and an on-off switch. The rest I can do myself, those functions all up here. Where then can I buy one of those cameras? So what's the simplest camera you've owned? And what features could you honestly do without? Would you buy a stripped down camera if one was available? Technology seems to be running away from us, and in photography the basics are still the most important thing. Are we forgetting those in favour of all the latest specs? I'll see you next time.